Okay, this is one of my latest paintings I've done. I've been working on it off and on for about a month. Got a lot of different things going. I haven't done a video in a while, so I'll be uploading a lot more since I have a lot of work to review and everything. This one is for my girlfriend. Haven't given it to her yet. She's a big Marilyn Monroe fan, Norma Jean. So I wanted to add a lot of different things, and there's some subtle references to this one Michael Jackson painting that I like a lot. I can't remember the artist or the name of it. I'll have to post the link to it in this video. But subtle things like the little gold writing right here and the space shuttle. I just like the way it looks, even though I think mine is a little bit better. Um, I added a lot of little things into it, like string and cut up paper and gold flake from like champagne bottles. There's a lot of different quotes going around it. Um, Pretty much the most popular ones, like to be like that one about being unhappy alone, and all that crap. I don't feel like reading it. Like a wise girl knows her limits, but a great girl, So this has a lot of 3D into it. I use plaster and stucco and everything, and just got a bunch of different effects, and some effects that I wasn't even trying to get, but because of the materials that I used and the way they reacted with each other, they ended up creating nice effects. This is just from a Walmart bag, but you can use saran wrap, plastic wrap, and you just have to put it down and wrinkled while the paint is still wet, and then after it dries some, just pull it off. You don't want it to dry completely because the plastic will be stuck in it. This is that plastic stuff that goes in the cabinets. I don't know what you call it, but you put it like under your glasses or plates. I just cut it into strips. Took a record and broke it and put it on here. This thermometer actually works. I got that. It was a some type of wood frame thing. I don't even know like what the purpose was, but it had a barometer, a humidity like measuring thing, and a thermometer in it. It was pretty much like a frame that just had these three things on it. So yeah, I used that. I used a lot of different spray paint. I took some crates that had holes in them and got the little circles on there, and it gave it different techniques. Um, I like the space shuttle. I like the Marilyn Monroe. I wanted to have a realistic one on there. Um, Up here is more the circles. I started off with all blue, and then I came back and I added some white, and then last pink, because in the beginning, well, in the end of the beginning, at the beginning of the end, sorry about that, the beginning of the end, I was trying to figure out what to do with this space, and I already had the dragonfly. I was going to add some more stuff because I want the painting to be really busy, but instead I chose to do that, and it all tied in well. I just chose to leave it because I thought it tied in well. Up here, I just left blank because my girlfriend actually liked that. She liked the sky right there, so I was going to put some angels in there, but the angels would have been, I didn't want to make them too small, and to make them as big as I wanted to would have took up most of the sky, so I just decided to leave it alone. I think the most complicated problem with this painting was that when I'm painting, I have no clue, like, what I'm going to paint. I just take a theme and then I run with it. So, like, this Big Ben that's down here was supposed to initially be beside this rocket. I wanted to play on the shuttle taking off and have, like, Big Ben, like, instead of the launching station, like, the shuttle being set off from the Big Ben. But it didn't work out that way, and I kind of like the way that it did turn out with Monroe coming from behind it. But like I said, the problems were like this was an afterthought, and I had already had the paper down, so I had to go and paint around the record and around the paper and everything. So I want the paper to still be on top of some things. And this bird, I painted over top of the paper, and it actually turned out well. I had to gesso the outline of the bird before I started painting it to get it down. Down here, that wasn't even going to be there because I thought it was going to be too hard to paint over the textured surface where the stucco was. But it actually worked out and turned out pretty decent. I didn't have to do too many details. I'd rather it had been this picture than the one up here because I don't think painting all those details would have worked well with all the texture underneath it. Another complication was the shuttle was already there before I placed all the circles there. and I did the circles with spray paint, and so I had to cover up a lot of things and like put paper and tape things down so that the spray paint didn't go anywhere that I didn't want to. So, and like I already had this face here before I painted the sky. So there's a lot of things where I had painted and then I had to go back and repaint the face to get the edges and everything down. Um, let's see. Overall, I really like it. I want to do, I wanted to do more to it, like, but there was a lot of things I had in mind. Like, I was going to do, one of the things was the Playboy Bunny, since she was one of the first people to be on that magazine, but I just felt like it would have been like stamping a trademark on something, and I didn't want to do that, you know, just a made in China sticker on a toy, you know. I didn't want to just throw it on there just because it had to do with her. I wanted to do a thing with the picture frame, and I was trying to tie the gold in everywhere. And I think the Big Ben right there kind of broke in the gold and everything, and the gold flake. But I also had this one frame, it's actually over here. I was going to paint Monroe as like Egyptian goddess, and this was the frame that I was going to use, and I was just going to have it sitting on the canvas somewhere, and I was going to paint the picture on the canvas and put the frame on top. And I'll probably do that in another one of my paintings since, you know, I think it's a pretty good concept, or it'll end up getting used as a opening to an art box. But one of my assemblage pieces. But it didn't get on here. There was just a lot of things that, you know, I really liked, and the canvas is already big enough as is. I don't want to add too much more to it. I wanted to have words down in here. I wanted to have like some quotes down in the actual shredded paper and put it on there, but that kind of got tossed to the side because I had already put down the gold flake and started spray painting, and I could have just added more and everything, but I liked the way that it already was. And a lot of times when you see something and you like the way it is, you could take the chance by adding something to make it better, or taking away from, like sanding or adding more paint. But if you already like what you have, you should probably stay. Unless you're like at the very beginning of your painting, because obviously, you know, I had a lot of things on here, like these. You can't really see it, but these little tiny little circles right here was from putting gravel and pebbles, and this whole area up and down here was covered with that. But and I like the way it looked, but because I was in the beginning stages of my painting, I had to sacrifice it because I had to do a whole lot more to the painting. So, towards the end, this was towards the end. So, if you see something that you know you like towards the end, I would leave it alone as opposed to you know in the beginning where you still have chances to add on to it. Over here, I like the little white lines underneath the black, and that's not even paint. That's just from where I had adhered these black strips with hot glue, not super glue, but hot glue, and I didn't like the way they looked. They were too thick. They were kind of messy. They just didn't work well. I didn't like the way it looked, so I pulled it off. And when I did, some of the paint came off, but it ended up looking good to me, I think. So please let me know what you think. If you like it, you don't like, if there's something that I should have done to make it better, or whatever you feel.